Childhood in Britain during the 1970s felt wonderfully untamed. It was a world painted in warm oranges and walnut browns, where living rooms had shag carpets deep enough to lose a marble in, and where the air somehow always carried the comforting scent of new plastic biscuit tins and the faint hum of a television warming up. Children didn't talk about health and safety. In fact, no one did. Rules existed technically, but they were written in soft pencil, easily ignored, and almost always replaced by a parent murmuring, "Just be sensible." Before returning to their newspaper or the telly, we played freely. We explored without instruction. So let us wander back to a Britain where the street was your playground, your bones were flexible, your trousers flared dangerously close to bicycle chains, and your imagination was the only guardrail you had. Here are 20 toys from 1970s Britain that would never be allowed today, but shaped a generation that learned resilience not from manuals, but from scraped knees, stinging elbows, and pure, joyful daring. Number 1. The Raleigh Chopper. No bicycle captured the spirit of the era more. The long banana seat, the raised handlebars, and that mysterious gear lever in the middle, positioned exactly where no modern designer would dare put one. You didn't just ride a chopper, you made an entrance. Coasting downhill, legs stretched straight, hair whipping behind you, wind roaring as though you were conquering the open road rather than the gentle slope outside Mrs. Thompson's front garden. It was a bicycle, yes, but also a throne, a racing stallion, and occasionally a rather efficient means of toppling sideways. The brakes squeaked, the gears clunked, and nobody wore helmets because helmets were for motorcyclists and astronauts. Yet, children learned balance, courage, and the delicate art of skidding on loose gravel without crying, at least not immediately. A chopper wasn't simply a toy, it was freedom on two wheels. Number 2. Steel wheel skateboards. Imported glamour from America, interpreted through British pavements and British weather. The wheels were solid metal, small, stubborn things that sounded like cutlery in a tumble dryer. On smooth Californian concrete, they may have glided. On our rough suburban paths, they juddered and vibrated until your teeth did the same. You didn't so much ride them as survive them. A slow wobble, a hopeful push, a moment of triumph. Then, inevitably, an enthusiastic meeting with the earth. But how thrilling it felt to crouch low, arms out, hair flicking across your eyes as you attempted, however briefly, to defy gravity and adulthood all at once. Scrapes washed off. Confidence didn't. Number 3. Metal clamp on roller skates. They clamped onto your shoes with a tiny key that vanished within days. Metal wheels, metal frame, metal ambition, and pavement hard as childhood lessons. A slight tilt, a pebble, a sneeze, and down you'd go. Palms outstretched, trousers scuffed, pride momentarily bruised. Yet each fall felt strangely noble. You stood again, tightened the straps, and tried once more, believing, truly believing, that this time you would glide. And sometimes you did, just long enough to feel untouchable before wobbling into a hedge, laughing breathlessly as your friends cheered. There was something beautiful in that stubborn joy. Number 4. Homemade trolley built from whatever wood your dad didn't explicitly say not to use. Pram wheels that squeaked with age, planks slightly crooked, string steering that was optimistic at best. You sat on top. Someone gave a heroic shove and off you sped down a hill, wind rushing, eyes wide, stomach dropping in that wonderful just on the edge of control way. Stopping depended on grass, feet, luck, or the firm presence of a garden hedge. Brakes were an invention for another decade. Yet, every crash became a story retold over school lunches, embellished slightly each time, as legends always are. We didn't just build trolleys, we built bravery. Number 5. Pogo sticks. A simple spring, a metal pole, and the hope that gravity might take the day off. Hop, hop, wobble. Triumph. Then a sudden slip, a gasp, and a graceful fall that always seemed to involve knees and concrete meeting in unfortunate harmony. Children bounced across driveways, school playgrounds, and the occasional living room carpet, ignoring advice, ignoring balance, determined to conquer the rhythm. There was something addictive about it. The rising bounce, the wobbly laughter, the thrilling possibility of reaching 10 jumps without incident. We didn't need medals. Survival was reward enough. Number 6. Stilts. Not sleek circus stilts, but homemade wooden ones hammered together in sheds with more enthusiasm than engineering. You climbed up, clung tight, and walked like a giraffe taking its first steps. Proud, hopeful, and entirely at the mercy of gravity. Falling didn't feel like failure. It felt like practice. And when you finally managed 3 steps without collapsing, you stood tall as though the world itself was just a little smaller beneath you. Number 7. Toy crossbows. Miniature bows, bolts with real tips, and a confidence in children's judgment that seems almost impossible now. Targets varied: cardboard boxes, garden fences, occasionally siblings who definitely said they'd move. It was a different sort of childhood, one where trust was given freely and responsibility felt natural, not taught by laminated signs and padded corners. Number 8. Slingshots. Smooth, Y-shaped wood, elastic stretched tight, pride swelling as you pulled further and further, testing both limits and patience. Stones pinged, laughter echoed, and every child swore sincerely they were aiming at the tin can. Even as the garden shed trembled gently in disagreement. In that small act of aiming and releasing, there was a strange calmness, a moment where focus sharpened and the world briefly obeyed your intentions or pretended to. Number 9. Plastic fencing swords. Bright, flexible, and always wielded with more enthusiasm than skill. Living rooms became battlegrounds. Back gardens echoed with dramatic yelps, heroic leaps, and theatrical collapses. Sometimes the swords bent, sometimes they snapped. Occasionally, someone discovered that plastic corners could be surprisingly sharp. Yet in those duels, friendships deepened and imagination flourished. We weren't children with toys. We were knights, pirates, heroes. And that mattered most of all. Number 10. Inflatable punching clowns. Tall, cheerful, weighted at the bottom so they always bounced back, smiling as they attempted to knock you over. A joyful jab, a triumphant giggle, then a sudden swing forward, faster than expected, connecting squarely with a small and unsuspecting face. Tears came quickly, so did accidental lessons in momentum. But after a sniff, a wipe of the nose, and a determined stance, the punching resumed. Fear never lasted, and resilience came free with the toy. Number 11. Electric shock trick toys. Tiny joke gifts, pens, gum packs, key rings, offering fun, surprise, and a small jolt that traveled up your arm like a fizzy drink made of lightning. A moment of pain, a wave of amusement, and the sort of good-natured mischief childhood thrives on. Modern toys teach caution. These taught character and suspicion. Number 12. Super elastic bubble plastic. A tube of shimmering chemical goo squeezed onto the end of a straw, puffed into wobbling orbs that floated like delicate soap bubbles and smelled like a petrol station on a summer day. You blew carefully, shaping something fragile and otherworldly, watching it glisten in the sunlight until it popped with a sticky sigh and clung stubbornly to your sleeve. Parents opened windows and said things like, "Not too close to the curtains," while children ignored them and continued creating tiny chemical planets in the living room. Memories, after all, don't always come fragranced with safety. Sometimes they arrive with solvent perfume and laughter. Number 13. Shrinking plastic art. Sheets you colored, cut, and placed into the oven, watching through the glass as they curled, twisted, shrank, and settled into miniature versions of themselves like magic, happening quietly under the warm orange glow. Children knelt on kitchen tiles, noses nearly touching the oven door, eyes wide as their drawings transformed into badges or charms. Mothers hovered, tea towel in hand, warning about heat while secretly enjoying the wonder of it too. A little burnt finger here and there was simply part of the memory. And what memories they were. Number 14. Wood-burning craft kits. A small heated pen, a piece of wood, and absolute trust. You press the tip carefully. Carve in dark lines and smoky curls into pine, the air filling with that unmistakable smell. Part campfire, part creativity, part danger. Patience was rewarded with a name, a pattern, a little piece of pride. Even today, the scent of warm wood can carry you back to kitchen tables, plastic aprons, and sunlight streaming through patterned glass. Number 15. Indoor trampettes. A compact trampoline, small enough to fit in a lounge, springy enough to launch a child directly into a lampshade. Children bounced to pop songs, convinced they looked like athletic television stars, legs flailing, hair flying, carpet slipping beneath the frame as it edged steadily toward furniture. Occasionally, someone sailed off entirely, landing in a pile of cushions or not. Danger existed, but so did joy. Number 16. Toy helicopters. Wind-up or battery-powered, their tiny rotors spinning with a whirring determination that thrilled small hearts and worried sensible adults. They rose, tilted, and returned, not always gracefully, clipping elbows, tugging hair, and occasionally earning a stern, "That one's going away for a while." Yet nothing beat the feeling of crouching low, twisting the key, letting go, and watching a toy defy gravity, however briefly. Magic, even in plastic form, always felt worth the risk. Number 17. Water rocket launchers. A plastic bottle, a pump, a thin jet of water, and liftoff. Children gathered on lawns like miniature scientists, pumping excitedly, stepping back, counting down, and gasping as the rocket shot skyward, leaving mist, squeals, and confusion behind. Sometimes it wheeled sideways with chaotic bravery, spraying siblings and soaking unsuspecting pets. Summer afternoons smelled of grass, hosepipes, and hope, and that was enough. Number 18. Toy metal detectors. Heavy, earnest little devices meant to uncover treasure. Coins, bottle tops, mysterious scraps that sparkle before revealing themselves to be nothing at all. Children scraped at soil with small trowels, determined to uncover history, convinced that just beneath every garden lay ancient secrets or pirate gold. Often it was a rusty nail, occasionally a penny. Always there was excitement and mud. What we found mattered far less than the thrill of believing something might be there. Number 19. Glowing science kits. Boxes promising phosphorescent marvels and safe laboratory experiments, which usually involved powders, liquids, and gentle anxiety from nearby parents. Lights dimmed, curtains drawn, children stared in awe as mixtures shimmered faintly, glowing with eerie magic like tiny captured stars. Spills happened, carpets remembered, but the world felt enchanted for a moment, and that was worth every stain. Science wasn't sterile then. It sparkled, bubbled, and occasionally smelled questionable, and children loved it. Number 20. The evil Conval stunt cycle. A toy that felt less like plastic and more like pure ambition. You wound the handle faster and faster, engine whirring until the air almost buzzed, then let go, and the tiny motorbike shot forward like a rocket, leaping from books, ramps, and occasionally living room furniture. It crashed often, spectacularly, heroically, and children cheered, convinced they'd witnessed greatness. Some tried their own stunts afterward, bicycles becoming daredevil machines, courage swelling, logic temporarily forgotten. In every spin of the wheel, there was a promise that you too might fly, if only for a second. And sometimes you felt as though you truly did. Toys in 1970s Britain were not padded, regulated, or quietly humming with safety certification. They were bold, bright, imperfect, and profound in their simplicity. They taught us that falling wasn't failure, that bravery wasn't loud, and that sometimes the most unforgettable moments are the ones where you weren't entirely certain what would happen next. Modern childhoods are softer and perhaps safer. But those days, those raw, wondrous days, live on in memory like sunshine through patent glass, warm and imperfect and utterly irreplaceable. Because growing up back then wasn't about avoiding risk. It was about learning to stand, to balance, to dare, and to laugh when we tumbled.